All right, here's a quick walkthrough on how to connect your Minds network to your own custom domain. So step one is going to be logging into your network. If you're not already there, you should have a link in your email actually that'll take you to your network. Otherwise, you can go to minds.com/networks. If you're logged into Minds, you'll have this button that says go to network, and that will take you to the admin section of your own network. Now, by default, we're going to have kind of this temporary minds.com, very long subdomain. And that's what we want to change here. So to change it, click into the domain section and we'll hit set up custom domain. Now for this example, I've got my own domain, which you can see here is something something.link. Yeah, that's real. And we are going to use the subdomain creator, okay? So what I'm going to set is creator.something something.link. This will be the address, the new domain for my Minds network. And while we're doing this, just a quick note that the what you put in here has to be a subdomain of your own domain, okay? Some people have tried doing something like just something.link. This won't work. Or creator dot let's say minds.com. This is our domain. Unfortunately, that won't work right now. So what you'll need to do is do a subdomain of your own domain, which in this case is creator.something something.link. And then from there, you hit set domain. Now what's going to happen at this point is that this section here on the domain tab is going to update with details that you need for setting up the domain on your own domain provider. Okay, now this is where you're going to exit your Minds network and head over into the admin section of your domain provider, which for me is hover.com. There's, it could be GoDaddy, it could be namecheap.com. There's a bunch of different ways or different providers for domains. And the interface is going to look a little bit different depending on which one you're using, but more or less the setup is the same. So what you're going to want to do is log into your provider and head over to the DNS section. Sometimes it's called DNS management, advanced DNS section. That's what you want to go into. And from here, you should have a button that will let you add a record. And basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding two records. We're going to add a CNAME record and a TXT record using the details that we've got over here in your Minds network dashboard. So let's start by adding a record. We'll go with the CNAME record to start with. And the name record, or the host name, is going to be this. But actually, most of the time, you just need to put the subdomain, all right? So again, our full address is going to be creator.something something.link. And some domain providers will want you to input the entire thing, but most of them I find just want you to put the subdomain that you want. And then the target name is going to be networks.minds.com, right? And that's what we've got over here. As far as the TTL, you can usually just leave that in the default setting. 15 minutes is fine. Click add a record, and that will start setting up. And then we're going to add one more record, which is a TXT record. And this is one where I'm definitely going to copy paste the values that we have over here in your admin section. So yeah, grab this whole bit that starts with _CF custom, paste that into the host name, and then grab this big long string of numbers, and we'll drop that into the content field. And similarly, the TTL, you can just leave it the default, 15 minutes is fine. And you click add a record. Now at this point, you should be done with everything that you need to do in your domain provider. That said, there's typically going to be some wait time, and it might be anywhere from 5 minutes, 15 minutes, up to 24 hours, depending on how your domain provider works. A good way to check on the status is to actually head over to what'smydns.com or .net. It might redirect me. All right, there we go. So the address that we want to check is that one that I just created, right? So it's creator.something something.link, and I want to check the CNAME value. So basically, this is like a third-party service that's just going to hit that domain and tell us what our domain provider is returning. And you can see already my hover domain provider is returning networks.minds.com, which is exactly what we want to see. You can see it might vary depending on the country. It propagates over time. So if you're in a different part of the world, it might take a little bit longer for that to happen. But eventually this will propagate to all of the different locations, and that will be how you know that you've got this thing all configured correctly. In fact, if I come back over here to my Minds Network, you can see I got a little confirmation that says the domain is configured successfully. So now if I navigate to creator.something.something.link, that will be the way that I navigate to my Minds Network. Now, again, this might not work immediately. Let's go ahead and hit that real quick because my domain provider is still doing some setup. There's going to be like some security setup and stuff. Yeah, this is pretty normal. Again, this is all correctly set up. We're just going to have to come back in, again, 10, 15 minutes or so to verify that it's all working, but we should be good. Now, while we're waiting for that, I guess just a couple of things to highlight that might go wrong if it's not working, reasons why it might not be working, okay? And I've got some notes here to remind myself of the reasons why. Okay, reason number one that it might not be working, even though you've set up everything correctly, is that, like I mentioned, here in this case with my provider, I just need to put in the subdomain, which is creator. I don't need to put in the full creator.something.something.link. Some service providers, you do need to input the entire thing. So that's reason number one why it might not be working. The other reason it might not be working, and this is kind of a bigger deal, is that the service that you use to register your domain might not actually be the service that's in charge of the name servers, which is the thing that controls what we just changed. Effectively, if you've got this thing's, let me give you an example. I use hover.com for an address that I own that is then the website that I have is run on bluehost.com as an example, right? And in that case, in hover.com, I set up Bluehost to manage my name servers. In that case, if I go into hover.com and set these, add these new CNAME records, it's not going to have any effect. In fact, I need to go into bluehost.com to manage my domain, my DNS there. So that could be a reason why, is that the name servers are actually being pointed somewhere else, and that will be where you need to add your custom CNAME and TXT records. And then the third reason that it might not be working is, again, it might take some time. And that's where what'smydns.net is a good way to check it out, see what's the current status. And that will show you that, again, if you see this returning networks.minds.com and you have a check mark and you go into your network and you see here that it says that it's configured successfully, that means you're good. And if it's still not working in that case, it really is just a matter of time. Again, waiting for it. In this case, I'm waiting for hover.com to set up some security stuff, but we'll check back on this in a little bit. Let's check one more time. And as expected, creator.something.something.link is now the domain for my network. And that's how you configure your domain for your network. So if you have any other issues, I guess check out help.minds.com. There's a host of how-to articles and stuff there, as well as ways to get in contact with me. We can set up a call if you need to walk through something in person. But otherwise, hopefully that helped, and hope you enjoy your Minds network. Cheers.